Good evening, everyone. A warm welcome to each one of you. My name is Sukrut, and it's truly a privilege to be your host for today's launch. As a student preparing to begin my professional journey, I've spent a lot of time asking questions about where to learn, who to learn from, and how to grow in the right direction. These questions led me to conversations with mentors and industry professionals who believe careers are not just on knowledge, but on guidance, opportunity, and meaningful connections. And that's what makes today more than just another launch event. And that's one of the reasons today's launch resonates with me. Today is about bringing experience and aspiration into the same room. It's about creating access. Because talent is everywhere, but access is not. To formally welcome us to today's launch, it is my pleasure to introduce Shruti Basu. Shruti is the co-founder and chief product and technology officer of Soloxy and an AI native behavioral intelligence platform focused on preventive mental well-being. With more than 20 years of experience across technology, product development, startups, VMware, Broadcom, she has built her career at the intersection of innovation, human centered design, and meaningful impact. She is deeply passionate about helping people thrive and believe that when individuals are equipped with the right support, awareness, and opportunities, they can unlock their full potential. Please join me in welcoming Shruti Basu for the welcome address. Over to you, Shruti ma'am.
Thank you so much for the nice introduction. So, good afternoon, everyone. A very warm welcome to each one of you. It is truly pleasure to be a part of the launch of Career Guild, a community built around a simple but powerful idea. Uh, it is truly a pleasure to be a part of the launch of Career Guild, a community built around a simple but very, very powerful idea. Talent is everywhere, but access is not, right? Throughout our career, many of us have benefited from someone who guided us, encouraged us, opened a door for us, or helped us see the possibilities we could not yet see for ourselves. Those moments often shape our journeys more than we realize. What makes Career Guild special is that it brings together professionals who are willing to share their experience, create opportunities, and help others grow. It is not just about networking, it is about a community, guidance, visibility, and paying opportunity forward. As someone who deeply believes in human potential and power of supportive ecosystem, I find this mission incredibly meaningful. When people have access to the right mentors, communities, and opportunities, they don't just advance their careers, they gain confidence, direction, and the ability to create impact for others as well. Today's launch is the beginning of that journey, and thanks a lot to Shwetha Lakshman Rao for bringing this vision to life. And thank you to all of you for being here to become a part of this founding community. I hope today's conversation inspire new connections, new ideas, and new possibilities. Welcome to Career Guild. Thank you.
One of India's largest women return to work programs, which helped more than 30,000 women restart their careers. She also founded Women Who Code Bangalore, growing it from 450 members to a thriving community of more than 8,000 professionals across 3 cities. But what brings us here today isn't a title, a patent, or a program. It's a belief that talent is everywhere, but access is not, and a belief that when people gain access to mentors, opportunities, networks, and support, careers can change and lives can change with them. She didn't build Career Guild at a whiteboard. She built it from 20 years of evidence that the right community built the right way can create opportunities for thousands of people. Please join me in welcoming the founder of Career Guild, Shwetha Lakshman Rao. Welcome you, ma'am.
Hello all, welcome to Career Guild launch event. So my name is Shwetha and I'm the founder of Career Guild. Today is day one and I want to start with a question. Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at your career and thought, I'm working hard, I'm doing everything that is required to grow. So still I'm not growing faster than others. Or at any point in your career, have you ever thought, oh, I just need a mentor? Let me ask another question. How many of you have actually found one?
You're muted. You're muted.
No, no, no. Folks, can you hear me? Just put a note in the chat so that I can see. Yeah? Okay. Okay, let's move on. So, the next question. How many of you have actually found a mentor? A real mentor? Someone who consistently showed up? Someone who understood your situation? Someone who gave you honest feedback? Someone who helped you grow? Someone who opened doors when it actually mattered? For most of the people, the answer will be no. After more than 20 years in technology, I have come to believe something important. More people don't actually need a mentor, or mentoring is only one piece of the puzzle. What people actually need is guidance, visibility, confidence, sponsorship, community, opportunities. They're looking for the right support at the right moment. Most careers don't fall apart suddenly, they quietly stop growing. Not because people are not talented, not because they are not working hard, but because they didn't have the access to the right support at the right time. Next slide. Talent is everywhere, access is not. And that realization is what led to Career Guild. But before I tell you what Career Guild is, I want to share how I got here. Because my understanding came through four distinct moments in my own journey. Next slide. The first moment started with a simple conversation at a conference booth. Years ago, a student attended Grace Hopper celebration in Bangalore. Like many students, she was trying to imagine what her future might look like. During the event, she stopped at the VMware booth. We spoke for a few minutes. Nothing extraordinary. It was just a conversation. Years later, she joined VMware and we became colleagues. Today, she is one of the founding volunteers helping build CareerGuild. Her name is Harini Vasu, and you will also hear her in today's panel. What stayed with me was not that she joining VMware. What stayed with me was realizing how difficult it is to predict which conversations matter. A conversation creates a connection creates an opportunity can change career, and a career can eventually help others. I only realized all of these things when Harini commented on my LinkedIn posting about Career Guild. That comment is what reminds me of the whole story. Relationship creates access, and access changes lives. Next slide. Now, the first story was about the seed planted early in someone else's career. But the second moment taught me what happens when someone higher up intentionally reaches down to change your own career trajectory. It was in 2018. I was a senior engineer. I was driving Women Who Code, Grace Hopper celebration, VMware hands-on lab, a lot of initiatives for VMware India. Nobody asked me to do it. I just started. One day, I ran into Ram Kumar Narayanan in the cafeteria. Ram was a VP and MD for VMware India. He asked me something simple. Have you ever discussed what your career aspirations are? I said, no. He said, let's schedule a meeting. Let's discuss. When I went to his cabin for that conversation, he said something that I didn't expect. He said, hold on. I don't know what you're thinking about your career, but you will be a very good manager. You're technically good too, but you're already way beyond existing managers. And here's the part that took me years to fully notice. Ram wasn't my manager. It came because of the initiatives I had started and led. Women Who Code, Grace Hopper Celebration, VMware Hands-on Lab, and many more, without anyone asking me. So, the belief that shaped my career came beyond my reporting lines because I had shown up in the rooms beyond my job description. That was 2018. Over the years, he has made me realize what my potential is. He spoke about me in the rooms where I was not there. He helped me enhance my network. Ram is still doing this even today, and he is supporting Career Guild. So, this story reminds me sponsorship creates access, and access changes lives. It is an incredible gift when a sponsor sees something in you and says it out loud. But my third story is about quiet courage it takes when you have to see something in yourself first and act on it for years, completely unnoticed. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to co design VMware's VM Inclusion Tara initiative. I helped women return to workforce after career break. One day, I was invited to meet a participant who had successfully completed the program and earned the VMware certification. She had just received an offer from VMware, had a 7-year career break. Before she officially joined VMware, we had a chance to talk. During our conversation, she mentioned something that I was not expecting. She told me she had been a member of Women Who Code Bangalore. She had attended sessions that I hosted and some of the sessions that I presented to. I didn't know her. By 2019, we were close to around 5,000 members in Women Who Code Bangalore. There was no way I could have known everyone in that room. But she knew me. She had been showing up quietly for years without ever stepping forward to be known. That moment stayed with me because when you are building a community at scale, you never really know who is in the room. You don't know what they are carrying with them. You don't know what they are waiting for. After that conversation, I didn't just let the moment pass. I started pulling her into different initiatives and volunteering opportunities. So today, she is at Microsoft. Every time I think about her, I get goosebumps. I come back to the same thought. Community creates access, and access changes lives. Next slide. Up until this point, I viewed community as a safe space for the individual growth. But by 2021, when the second wave of COVID hit India, that is when I learned something beyond. So, what happened is in 2021, most of you know, COVID was very badly hit to India. People were literally struggling to find medicine, oxygen, bed, critical information, and more, right? So and as I was driving all these initiatives, there were a couple of groups where people were reaching out to get information about these information. Then we thought like, okay, something has to be done. So I just wrote a message that we should start helping people, and we wanted to start something serious. About 150 volunteers from VMware in India joined hands. What struck me was not who showed up. It was not just engineers. People from R&D, sales, IT, HR, all the functions. This is very rare when people are working at different organizations. Then we built dynamic handbooks, real-time resources to help people find what they actually needed. We started this for Bangalore and expanded to several more states across India. They stepped forward simply because help was needed. That kind of cross functional contribution rarely happens within a regular job description alone. It happens when people stop thinking just about their job title. Rather, start thinking about what's actually needed. That experience changed how I think about communities. Communities are not powerful because of the people at the center. Communities are powerful because many people help one another. When people contribute, when knowledge is shared, when opportunities are shared, when support is distributed, extraordinary things become possible. After that crisis passed, the connections didn't disappear. People who met each other during those weeks stayed in touch. Some people also started collaborating and contributing on other initiatives too. A few of those very volunteers are also contributing to Career Guild. This is the kind of community Career Guild hopes to build. Contribution creates access, and access changes lives. Four stories: a conversation at a conference booth, a sponsor who saw something in me beyond my reporting lines, a woman who kept preparing for an opportunity nobody could yet see, a community of 150 plus volunteers who stopped thinking about job titles and started thinking about what was needed. Different stories, different people, different situation, but the same underlying truth. Talent is everywhere, access is uneven. When you look at these four pieces together, a pattern emerges. You realize that no single mentor could have played all the roles for me, Harini, or for hundreds of volunteers. Your career just don't need one single person. Rather, it needs an entire ecosystem. Next slide. So, over the years, I have come to believe that No single mentor can be everything. Instead, most of us need is a small ecosystem of support. A North Star, someone whose journey inspires us. A sounding board, someone who gives honest, unbiased advice when we are making important decisions. A tribe, peers who genuinely be happy when good things happen to us. A mirror, someone early in their career who reminds us how much we have learned and often teach us something new in return. A bridge, people from different generation, industries, experiences who expand our perspective. This is the most underused relationship and the one I care the most. We have built Career Guild around the idea that a 22-year-old and a 45-year-old should be in the same room, not because age matters, but because perspective does. The experienced one rediscover questions that they had stopped asking. The younger ones get real context they could not find elsewhere. Neither groups can grow faster without each other. Together, this relationship creates an ecosystem. Next. But to build this ecosystem, we have to stop confusing what we actually need. Whenever we feel stuck, our automatic reaction will be, oh, I need a mentor. But a mentor is not always the right answer. Sometimes you actually need a teacher for a skill, a coach for clarity, a counselor for perspective, a therapist for emotional well being, or a sponsor to open the doors when you're not in the room. No single person can be everything. What matters is having the right support at the right moment. Next slide. And that is exactly why I built Career Guild. Over the years, I had the privilege of working with people across every stages of their career. And through all of those experience I have just shared with you, I kept coming back to the same question. What if these moments didn't happen by accident? What if we could intentionally create more of them? What if we could build a community where people didn't have to navigate everything alone? Rather, a place where opportunities could be shared, a place where experience could be passed forward, a place where people could learn, contribute, and grow together. That realization became Career Guild, not as an app, not as a course, not as a networking group, but a community which is built around one simple belief. Talent is everywhere, access is uneven. And when more people gain access to opportunities, guidance, visibility, mentors, sponsors, and network, more people can reach their potential. And when they do reach the potential, they can help create that access for someone else. That's the future I hope Career Build helps to build. Next slide. So, my hope is simple. Years from now, someone gets a promotion because a Career Guild member advocated for them. Someone discovers a new direction because another member shared their experience. Someone takes the first stage. Someone writes their first article. Someone makes a career move that they had never thought of because someone in the community helped them see what was possible. And then they do the same for someone else because strong communities are not built when few people help everyone. They are built when everyone helps someone. In a few minutes, you will hear from our panel. Four people will be joining, and we are calling it the people behind the path. As you listen to our panel today, notice something. Not just what happened in their careers. Notice who was in the story: the mentor, the sponsor, the colleague, the community, the person who opened a door. Because careers rarely change with the information alone, they change because of people. Talent is everywhere, access is not. Career Guild exists to close the gap. Thank you.
That is a very inspirational journey. Thank you, ma'am. Next, we move to our panel discussion, the people behind the path. It's my pleasure to introduce our moderator, Padmini Sampige Tirumalachar. Padmini is a principal software engineer at OpenText with more than 20 years of experience architecting solutions across leading technology companies including Broadcom, VMware, IBM, and HP. An expert in IT infrastructure, cloud computing, and observability. She holds multiple patents in virtual agent systems and performance monitoring. Beyond her professional accomplishments, Padmini is a passionate mentor, collaborator, and advocate for women in technology. She is deeply committed to helping others learn, grow, and succeed through the power of community and shared experience. With her wealth of experience and passion for empowering others, she is the perfect person to guide today's conversation. Please join me in welcoming our moderator, Padmini Sampige Tirumalachar.
Hey, thank you, Sukrit. Thank you for the kind words. Hey, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Uh, in tech, as we speak of scaling systems, deploying code, accelerating innovation, the most important, the most critical architecture that we will ever build is not just software, it is our own career ecosystem. Building a sustainable, thriving career in technology requires a very deliberate focused life cycle. It's about how we engage with the communities early on, how we successfully pivot through the industry changes, and also our life stages, and ultimately how we step up to lead. So we have a phenomenal panel today of leaders who embody this exact journey. They have not only navigated these phases themselves, but they're actively building ladders for other people to engage, pivot, and lead the tech industry. So we have
Padmini, you're muted. Padmini, maybe you need to unmute yourself.
can't hear now? No. Can you hear me?
Now we can, Padmini. Yeah, you muted
Should I
yourself.
introduce from beginning?
I think so.
Okay, so sorry, I missed reading out. Let me introduce our panelists once again. We have Ramani Panchapakeshan. He is a technology executive at area where he is a vice president of technology. He has been successfully leading engineering teams, developed high performing leaders, driven innovation programs, and delivered products across mobility, network, endpoint management, retail, technology, satellite communication, and air platforms. He is also a terrific a technology strategist and an inventor with the holder of 50 patents. So welcome, Ramani, to this panel. Uh, our next panelist is Lakshya Shivaramakrishnan. She's a technical program manager at Google, and she has managed the Women Tech Makers program in India for about 5 years. And she has founded the Prayogashala program, which is a 1-week online bootcamp that nurture young women in technology. So she recently received a 40 Under 40 award by World Brand Affairs, and Forbes India is going to cover this in the next edition. She's a TEDx speaker, and she's an Economic Lead Like a Girl Fellow. And she enjoys nurturing communities and empowering women to join, thrive, lead in the tech company. Welcome, Lakshya, to this panel. The next we have is Ramya Victor. Ramya Victor is a technology leader with extensive experience across Microsoft, VMware, and CrowdStrike. She specializes in cloud engineering, cybersecurity, and AI/ML, and she has presented in multiple national and international conferences. She has contributed to various communities like GHCI and Women Who Code under the AI/ML communities, and many other global technical communities. Ramya has also completed her executive leadership program from the Wharton School, which strengthens her ability to influence, communicate, and lead in strategic leadership. Beyond technology, Ramya is a Hatha Yoga certified teacher, an aerial yoga trainer, and sound healer. So she brings in wellness and mindfulness into all aspects of community work and leadership. So welcome, Ramya, to this panel. And next we have Harini. Harini is a senior product manager with 12 plus years of experience in digital product development, a long-time volunteer with IEEE and Women in Engineering IEEE since her student days. She later contributed to VMware's Project Tara, supporting women returning to the workforce. She's excited to continue this journey through CareerGuild. So welcome, everyone. Let's get started right away. Right? Harini, if I may start with you. Shwetha shared a very powerful story about how you, as a student, meeting her at Grace Hopper conference, and you later went on to become colleagues. One thing is, in most conferences, when people interact, it's totally forgotten what you would have spoken. But what was that about the conversation that stayed with you, and it influenced the direction of your work?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for the wonderful introduction. Regarding the conversation that I had with Shwetha, I'm actually a first generation engineering graduate. I have, do you hear the echo as well?
Yeah.
Now it's fine?
Yeah.
So I'm a first generation engineering graduate. So there is like no one in my family who navigated tech before. It was really challenging for me to first of all comprehend like what am I going to do after engineering, etc. And then there was this beautiful opportunity to attend Grace Hopper celebration, and like they had career fair, you name it, all the companies were there: Google, Microsoft, IBM, Qualcomm, everybody were there. And then I went to this booth, VMware, which actually was different from what I saw in the other booth, mainly because the other booths, when I spoke to people there, they did share a lot of information. They did talk about their company, what they're doing, etc. But then every conversation made me feel like, okay, this is so far from reach. This is, I don't know how I'm going to get there, right? But the conversation with Shwetha standed out mainly because she spoke about people, she spoke about culture, more like others. But one thing she added additionally was my path towards joining that company. Like she said, there is this internship opportunity, there is something that you could do, and you could still join and be part of this wonderful culture and company, etc. what a wonderful company this must be, was what I knew VMware only from that conference. I collected all the goodies, silently looking at that every single time, hoping that I'll join there. And I did follow through. I applied for the internship. I didn't get it. I tried after my graduation. I didn't get it again. And then I continued working in Infosys for 3 years. And then I applied again and I got through the third time. And I joined VMware. I actually saw Shwetha there in VMware. And actually, I didn't remember Shwetha from the conference. After I saw her, I've seen her somewhere, and I've been thinking about it for a month. And then I realized, okay, this is the person I saw in GHC. All of those things came back to me. It was actually a very short conversation. I didn't remember her name. I didn't remember um, the exact conversation, but the content stayed with me. The impact the conversation had, that stayed with me, and that actually led me to set a career goal, set and aim towards VMware for a very long time. And then seeing Shwetha back in VMware, all of those came back. So you never know, one conversation can actually change someone's entire career. That's what I felt through that conversation.
So true. Thank you, Hadni, for that. Thank you so much. Yeah, it does. One conversation, it means so much to somebody, right? Therefore, engaging with communities has a lot more power than we see, right? Let me come to you, Ramya. You have been a reinvention guru, if I may call you. So you have reinvented multiple times. First, from moving from QE to development. Then you moved from VMware to Microsoft to now to CrowdStrike. Now then you moved from India to Australia. And looking back at all these things, you could have easily stayed safe in the place that you were because you were excelling there. What made you take, if I may call this, leap of faith into this unknown, and what keeps you going there?
Hey, thanks, Padme. Thanks for telling such wonderful words. It feels surreal sometimes to think about it. But if I can talk about what made me do that, it is mostly the feeling, that you can be something beyond what you are. So I stayed in VMware for almost 10 years, did a lot of things, been part of multiple communities. But overall, if you look at professional growth, there was always a feeling that I thought I could do much better. And as Shwetha called out very beautifully, having that support system, I always had wonderful people who always told me that I am capable more beyond what I am currently. Right. I had good mentors who were like a good soundboard, just how beautifully Shwetha laid out. Right. They always told me that there is something better. Why don't you try? So that is what kind of ignited that thought within me. And to in fact actually tell you, right, recently I saw a post in LinkedIn which said that Lamborghini, the big famous company, it always didn't produce cars. It started off as a tractor company, right? So that's what it is about. Just because you're in one place doing a set of things as an automated testing engineer or whatever, it just doesn't define your boundary that you are meant to be that, you're going to be that, eventually you'll die in that. It doesn't mean that, right? It always means that there's opportunity to grow if you think beyond where you are. So that's what kind of triggered me. And the other thing is, people always said, when I kind of reached out to other people and told, I want to be as a developer, do something different, they said that 10 years of your life you have been an automation testing engineer. I don't think it's a right time for you. You're seasoned to be that, right? But when people tell you, no, you can't do it, you cannot do it, it kind of triggers an feeling within me that tells me that, why can't you do it? That is another motivation that triggered me to do that. But apart from all this motivation, right, the community that is there to support you, because the journey for preparing the interviews, having so many rejections, having 8 rejections, back to back, back to back, right? It puts you in a low phase. That's when having a community, like how Shweta said, a soundboard, a mentor, right? Your supporting system who can tell you that you can move ahead. There's nothing wrong. It's okay. I have not have a wonderful mentor who's in US who told me, you are transitioning from a testing to a development role. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. Rejection is part of it. You will fail. Just see what you can do better, right? And a wonderful mentor who's a person who worked with me in VMware, right, in the same team as a testing engineer. He always told me, that failure is not going to pull you down. It's rather going to tell you what are your areas of improvement. So all these supporting systems, right, that is what helped me to go to the next level along with the hard work, right? That I think that is what Career Guild is all about, right? The community, the sounding board, the mentors, sponsors, all of this helped me a lot. And being part of community opened up the venues I had. I never thought that I could go into Microsoft. I could relocate to a different country. So just to let people know, I'm in Australia, currently settled here. So I never thought, moving to a different country, searching for job will all be possible. But that was all possible only because the community opened out venues for me, and my supporting system was always there for me. I hope I was able to answer you.
Perfectly, perfect, Ramya. I don't think being so fearless about your choices and and belief in the community. I think I totally get what you're saying. That's amazing. You have transitioned so wonderfully and contributing so much. So next I want to come to Lakshya. Lakshya, through this many communities that you have built, for example, through women tech makers and other communities, you've created, countless opportunities for professionals, be it in speakers, as volunteers, or mentors, or even attending. So, looking back at what you have given, what is that you have learned about this impact of creating good for others, if I may say, opportunities for others?
Sure, Padmini. I think, yeah, there is a lot of gratitude. But the way I want to answer this question is with a lot of stories and with three things for the audience to take away. One is just that sheer want to pay it forward, right? I always felt the upbringing, the exposure was always from a position of privilege. And privilege because of certain access, right? Access to events, access to workshops, trainings, which I felt very fortunate to be part of those summits, those events, those workshops. And I really wanted to like share this and create the same opportunities even ahead, right? So that was one very solid calling that I would like to share. The second is when I was growing and strengthening women tech makers as a community, I built this network around a lot of other volunteers who were all organizers, doing similar things. Our aim was like common, but we just wanted different access, different avenues of access for people, right? So there were so many communities. There's Women Who Code, Lean In, there was Women Tech Makers, there were Pi Ladies, there was Women Who UX. I mean, so many of these communities. And it's just that core of communities coming together instead of competing with one another. In a matter of a few months, all these organizers were my friends, and we were like, okay, together, what is it that we should do to leave the world better than where we came into? So that was another calling. And the third and the most important was, it was just about creating access at scale, right? And from the position that I had of having a charter where I could spread this across the country, there were about 35 chapters all across India, each of them having community leaders who were leading their own small chapters. I was like, how can I be that role model, that means through which they can probably create this ripple around their own cities, right? And India is so diverse that what works for a Bangalore or a Chennai may not work elsewhere, say for a Vishakhapatnam or a Jalandhar, right? How can we be inclusive of their for lack of a better word, their challenges, their circumstances, and how can we come together and create these opportunities, right? So one of the opportunities was when I got to work personally with these 35 individuals around COVID, where we couldn't do physical events, but we all had to come together and we decided to do a virtual event. How very closely I was able to pay it forward by just mentoring them. Somebody took care of logistics, somebody took care of content writing, somebody took care of planning, somebody took care of getting the right speakers for the event. And these 25, 30 young women who are learning to navigate their own careers, right, impacted with an audience of about 2,500 to 3,000 people attending the event live, right? So it really helped me create a ripple. A quote that I hold very close by is, empowered people can only empower people. And like how Career Guild says, right, talent is everywhere, but access is uneven. And if there's one thing I want the audience to take away from my answer, it is work on your visibility, right? And only if you make yourself visible can opportunity come knocking to you. And after that, there's no looking back. So, yeah, over to you, Padmini.
Wonderful, Alakshya. Thank you so much for that. Be a light first, shine upon yourself, right? First, then you can light the others. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Uh, Ramani, if I may come to you, you have been our mentors. I don't know how many countless people in this room. We have been so fortunate to have you as our mentor. So, and I'm sure you have mentored many of us, many of us at VMware and other places. So, what is that you see in people before we see ourselves, right? What is that you see? How do you see that? And and this belief in others. How important is this? For somebody to get place, somebody to move forward in your career, Ramani.
Yeah, but I think fortunately, like my first job, I had like 3 people, 4 people volunteering to be my mentor, and that really helped fast track my own career. And just pay it forward, right? People didn't use words like that, but genuinely, people took interest in me. I was in the US for my first job. People volunteered, tried to like pull me along. So what I learned is there is a joy in finding the potential in others, and I like really to work with people who come to me not transactionally, right, for a promotion or for a specific problem that they need solved, but people who come and have. I mean, one of the best examples is Shwetha herself. We were a startup that got bought by VMware. Maybe like a week after that, she shows up in my office and she says, "Hey, I would like your team to come join us in Women Who Code." Absolutely nothing for herself, right? It's like something that, hey, we are a community. You guys have come and joined us. Why don't you come join us? We'll all do it together, right? I mean, I love all the conversations I had with you, with Ramya, has all been similar, where none of you came with an agenda, came because you have done something already, and what can we do together more, right? And in the process, I try to strike conversations. Some people are great at, they're very quick at learning. Some people are great at taking accountability. They'll put up their hands. The first time something goes wrong, they'll put up their hands and say, I messed up, right? Some people are very data driven. They love data. They always talk to you with data. They don't talk emotionally at all, right? There are others who are great. Some of you are great examples of yourself. You're great at influencing others with no title, no position at all, right? It's just that you've done it. You're so influential because you've done it yourself, right? So I always try to find what makes you you. It's not your title, it's not your job, it's not job you have no control over, right? Somebody tells you what to do, you have to do. But what defines you is way beyond that. So I always try to find what is that spark, what makes you you. And my goal is to find people like that and say, hey, how can I bring that out from you, right? How can you not really make that for yourself, but how can you pass that on along to others? Like rebooting careers, how many people had the guts to reboot their careers? Everybody complains about, I'm stuck in my job, but it does take an effort to reboot your career. It takes an effort for you to rediscover, right? I've been lucky to be in this industry now for 30 years, and it's tough to be in this industry for 30 years if you don't kind of reboot yourself every 5 6 years. You cannot be where you are and then say, hey, what is it, right? My manager didn't take care of me. Manager is not going to take care of you. You better take care of yourself, right? Anyway, so when I see successful people like him, there's really a pride and joy in seeing that. So does it help with the answer?
Yeah, thank you, Ramani. I think most of us here have benefited so much from your insights. And as Shwetha said, you were one of those mentors who pointed out and showcased her, what capability she has, and definitely it has helped each one of us. Thank you, Ramani, for that. Harini, if I could come back to you. So you were a student. You used to look up at someone and say, oh, yeah, this is this is how I want to be. And today you are helping build and contribute to the community yourself. So that's a full circle, right? So, what would you say to someone who's currently in that place? My daughter is in that place today. Somebody who's learning, who are growing, and who want to do many more such things, and wondering if this is the right path. So, what would you say to that?
Honestly, it feels humbling more than anything else. I still remember being a student and Grace Hopper celebration, walking around in the booths, attending sessions, collecting swags, and trying to figure out what my future in tech could look like. Back then, when people were speaking on stages in the panel discussions, leading communities and representing companies, it felt like they were so accomplished and so far ahead of me. And what I didn't realize at that time was that careers are built one step at a time. Nobody like wakes up one day and suddenly becomes a leader or a community builder or anything. It takes years of learning, asking questions, making mistakes, taking opportunities, participating in communities, and having people along the way who support you and believe in you and help to grow through you. Looking back, there were so many moments when I actually doubted myself, wondered if I was progressing fast enough, comparing myself with others, my peers, and questioned whether I belonged in certain rooms. Uh, like the thing is, every single experience taught me something, and every person who shared their knowledge or encouragement helped me move forward. So that is why this feels so meaningful now. Being part of a community like Career Guild isn't just about giving back. It is also about continuing to learn. Because the beautiful thing about community is everyone has something to teach and something to learn, regardless of wherever they are in their career. So to someone in that student or early career stage, wondering if they are in the right path, I would say don't underestimate how much progress can come from small and consistent steps. That's what makes difference. The people you are admiring today, they would have once been in the exact same position. All they did was staying curious, keep showing up, invest in relationship, participating in communities, and don't be afraid to ask for help. Because every single one of us at every single stage in our career, we need help. It could be big or small, but we might need it. You should not be afraid of asking for it. So this is what I would say.
Thank you. That was very well articulated. Rome was not built in a day. You take one step at a time, own your career, and be with the community and invest in that. Thank you for that. So Ramya, if I may come to you. So you have, while growing in your career, you have invested in communities like Women Who Code, and many more programs at VMware and other places. Most people would think that in order to contribute, they should have reached a certain perfect stage, but or be supremely successful to be part of those communities. But I think you took the other way around. You invested yourself while you were building yourself. So how did contributing to others' success help your own growth, Ramya?
Hey, thanks, Padmini. I, to be frank enough, right? The curiosity to learn in the journey when you're trying to help is a great thing in life. I still remember the first time when I saw Shwetha. If you would have attended, right, a lot of events, there used to be always a hoarding, dare to be Shwetha, and all that. So it always fascinated me, how come this person is doing so much. And I first sent a mail to her when I was part of VMware. I sent a mail to her, hey Shwetha, I saw this banner about you. I see you're doing so many things. Can I be part of it? Trust me, I didn't get a response. Nothing against Shwetha. She has a lot of things, was having a lot of things back then to do. But like how Lakshya beautifully said, right? You need to shine in order for other people to shine. So I felt like, okay, the first attempt failed, fine, not an issue. I kept on trying. I reached out through other people. And trust me, the first way I started contributing was as part of GHCI. I didn't even know how to write a paper. I collaborated with one of the colleagues in VMware, and I started doing things without even knowing how a paper looks at. I started working on it. We did trial and error, collaborated, submitted, and that's how I finally got a chance to talk to Shwetha and started contributing things. So the whole lesson that I learned is you don't have to be perfect to do something. It's all about starting to do something that you're not comfortable in doing, right? So I started writing paper. That's how I was confident that I could talk, I could present things. So that taught me that if I am able to do things just by getting inspired by looking at people around, then if I am able to do that impact for someone who's looking up at me, okay, oh, Ramya, so many years back, she was just friend of laptop doing work. Today she's talking, she's doing so many things. If she can do it, even I can do it. That feeling, that a commoner can do it, even I can do it. That is a change in anyone's life, right? That's what I wanted to do, because Shweta and so many other people, like even Ramani also, right? The way they talk, it always inspires us. So we always strive to be someone else. If we are feeling that, and if someone else is going to feel the same way about it, it's all about change, right? So I think that whole aspect of it, by growing yourself and trying to inspire others at the same time, that is a wonderful experience that everyone should feel the same way, because that's what has taught me throughout my life. Even the challenges I took, right, leaving my current role, going to a new role, trust me, for people who are watching, I was so confident, overconfident rather, that I've been working for 10 years. I know coding. I don't have to prepare. I attended my first interview. And when the interviewer just gave me a question, I was like, okay, how was I declaring it inside a main function? What was I doing? Because you're so much used to, copy paste, do these things, and I was like, what am I doing? I couldn't write even 5 lines of code. Trust me, I didn't write it. I was shattered so badly. But then when I came back, I looked at it. Okay, someone else cleared this interview and went forward. They inspired me. I can do it. If I can do it, I can inspire someone. I can build a community who can feel that they can also do it, right? So it put a lot of hard work to do that. So a simple answer to your question, Padmini, is inspiring someone when you are growing in that journey is what we all should strive for, right? Not like going to become a big top shot person and then inspiring. That many people do it. It takes a lot of time to reach there, right? Why waste all that time when you can inspire so many people, at the same time grow, right? It's a wonderful opportunity. I mean, that's what I would like to say.
Optimized way of growth. I like that. I like that from you. Thank you so much. Um, so Lakshya, I would like to come to you. So Lakshya, you would have seen people coming up for the first time to give a talk, or taking an initiative, or taking up a role, and typically people will have inhibitions. Am I good enough for this? Will I be able to do? They will have a lot of self doubts. you have helped such people. When you see these people, what these experiences have taught you, how people grow. What are those things, if these, if I say, disbelieves in them or doubting themselves, so how do you see that, and how does one cross over that?
Sure. Padmini, I think the first point that I want to drive is it's very important to start small and continuously make progress. Before I quote examples of people around me, I would like start with my own example. Going back to Grace Hopper conference, it was 2017, and I remember how desperate I was to get like an entry ticket to Grace Hopper, right? I can never forget that. And I got it through my connects and community contributions. But in 2 years, I was all set to like deliver a talk at the same stage. And in 2 years later, I was able to present like a poster at the Grace Hopper conference that happens in the US. So the story that I want to leave, the lesson that I want to leave here is we all start small, and then you continuously, improve. If you follow James Clear, he talks about the 1% rule, right? How can we continuously improve 1%? And I've seen that through a lot of people around me in communities, right? There are a lot of people who start off as say attendees to a community meetup, then they slowly graduate to volunteering, very similar to how Ramya said, okay, how can I help here, what can I do? And then you graduate to you not only enhance your connects, but you become confident enough to deliver a talk yourself. And if you want to like take it to the next level, you do a live presentation, like a live demo, right? But all this starts with starting small, right? And I've seen so many people having a similar path, in the developer program that I was part of. People start off as attendees, go on to become like developer experts, and this like really tells you that, okay, like if the right opportunity and access is given, you can really like see people thriving and really raising the bar for themselves. And a specific story I want to call out is, I remember at that time she was somebody whom I was working with. Now, today she's a very good friend of mine. She started off, she was just, we just found her interest in like building communities, and she picked up. She was from Vishakhapatnam. She wanted to do something for the people there. She started off with like 2 people coming to the event, 5 people coming to an event. Over time, she realized what is it that that particular city or chapter really needs. She started reaching out to students because Vishakhapatnam as a place is very student heavy, in terms of colleges and educational institutes. She started reaching out to men and women in the limited startup atmosphere that were there. She started reaching out to a lot of students and inspiring them to probably speak at events, herself being a mentor to them, and really pulling. And 1 year back, she invited me to speak at her the same event in Vishakhapatnam, which had 2,000 people coming. And it was sheer joy in seeing in about 5 to 7 years how she had really set up an ecosystem for herself. I have zero contribution there, but just to see somebody who started off so small, but and see what she has grown into was so heartwarming, right? Another story is about how many of these local volunteers, right? They have absolutely no incentive, like how I think, yeah, I think Ramani mentioned, right, that often we don't have much of incentive, but we still do it for the greater good, and it all comes together in some form. I remember there were a lot of individual stories that was covered in a Google blog, which is the keyword blog, accessible to all. It's a public blog. Stories of women who've really changed the ecosystem in their own cities, right? And the biggest takeaway here is not only starting small, but for all of us to understand, everybody starts as a first timer, right? All of us have our first times, and often we don't really need permission to grow. What we need is somebody to see, that there is an opportunity, some encouragement from somebody who believes in you before you fully believe in yourself, saying, hey, you can do it. And I've had some really strong mentors across the globe, and even today as part of my professional journey who've been there. They've been great role models. Just by seeing them lead and participate and be present, bring their whole self. We all have an identity beyond our day jobs, right? Like how Shweta also mentioned. We have a community persona, we have like a mentor, a mentee, a sponsor. How do we really show up fully as an individual? And in the process, do not underestimate the value that your mentors or sponsors bring in for you. I think most of us covered this point. It's not easy for you to say, okay, I want this person as the sponsor, because if you don't know what you want from that person, right? So there's a lot of inward thinking. What do you really want from a person? What do you want from a relationship? Do you want them to be your sounding board, your accountability partner, your mentor, sponsor? Whatever that is, define it for yourself. And it all starts from, starting small, but like even Sheryl Sandberg says this, like done is better than perfect. If you can show progress over perfection, that will hold all of us in very good stead in the long term.
Beautifully put. Beautifully put. I think it's wonderful you say no. Progress beats perfection any day. Thank you so much for that lecture. So, Ramni, if I may come to you. Ramni, you have always told us that don't be short-sighted about your career. You have to make long-term investment for your careers. So when you look at the challenges that professionals face today, why do you think that communities matter, and why the relationships that we build over this is very important, Ramani?
Oh, for sure. I mean, actually, there's a whole long conversation I can have about AI. So I'll park that for why it's even more important today. In general, right? I mean, if you look at your hierarchy, you have no control over it, right? It's like you're being born into a family. Family could be good, family could be bad. You have no control over that, right? What you do have control over is the friends you make, the community that you go join, right? And this essentially becomes your alternate support system, right? You have a sense of belonging. You can go ask awkward questions that you may not be able to ask in your own hierarchy. I've had so many conversations where people will come to me and say, my manager is this, my manager is that, my manager is not letting me get promoted. Sometimes it may be true. In a lot of cases, it is you have become so defensive that you're not even willing to take input anymore. Now, a community is a safe place where you can come and share this information, and somebody can hold a mirror and say, are you sure it's a manager problem or is it a you problem? Take a look at it, right? And in other places also, it's not the mentor's job or a coach's job to go solve the manager problem, but they can still teach you things to do to go back and have a better conversation with your manager, so it doesn't become like a very tainted relationship, right? Another area, and I've seen this with learning circles that you guys did in VMware, accelerated learning. Again, your day job may not always give you exactly the kind of learning you need, but being as part of a community, I remember data science, machine learning, AI, all of this you guys learned and did well before the company got into it, well before your job made you get into it, right? Which is very important. You need to be ahead of the curve. If you're waiting for the job to kind of give you the next important thing that's coming out, man, you're going to be waiting there for a long time. This is where communities help, right? Accelerated learning, people work on it. Maybe one of you have started seeing that. Now you bring that learning into this community so that others can pick it up, things like that, right? Third is, I think Lakshya has mentioned it, Ramya has mentioned it a few times, role models, right? You find people with similar backgrounds. You find people who have gone through the same pain you have gone through. Maybe you got laid off. You're not the only person who's ever got laid off. People are all, so many people have got laid off and rebooted their careers. You think you're stuck in this job. You're not the only one who's been stuck in this job. Everybody has gone through it at one point or another. Again, communities are a great place to come discuss your points, discuss your issues, and you'll find people who have gone through it, come out the other end. First of all, the reassurance that there is another end, that you're not stuck there forever. More importantly, what lessons they've learned, they'll pass it on to you, right? And creating opportunities. I mean, look at the kinds of things that stories you've heard, right? None of this came from your day job, right? All of this came because you were part of a community, you contributed, you helped others. Because of that, you have gone to conferences. Because of that, you have gone and done things that you've never done before. This will never come just from your own vertical track. It's coming because you're willing to put yourself out there and be part of a larger community, right? And lastly, I talked about a transactional, right? uh, LinkedIn is not your connection. LinkedIn, you send an invite, 9 out of 10 times somebody is going to accept without even knowing who you are, right? That is not a connection. To me, a relationship is this: you are in trouble. Who can you call at midnight and say, I need help? That is a relationship, right? So that relationship cannot start when you're out of a job. The relationship cannot job when you actually need something. It starts well before that, where you're taking an effort to find like-minded people or a mentor or a role model, and you're trying to kind of build a relationship there, learn from them, give your ideas, contribute. Then hopefully you'll never get into trouble. Don't build a community because you think someday you're going to get into trouble, right? But you're doing this because, again, you want to participate, you want to be part of something bigger than yourself. And in the process, now you have people who trust you. You have people who talk about you when you're not there in the room, right? That is the value of relationships. That is the value of a community. That is the value of somebody that is on speed dial you can call when you seriously need some help, right? So I think that's my takeaway from that is don't do transactional stuff. Genuinely try to make the effort to build relationships. Hope that helps.
Yeah, thanks, Ramni. I think it was very insightful. Yeah. So, communities are, can be safe spaces for us to discuss and get perspectives. And, when relationship is beyond being just a transactional, you can reach out to people, and that opens up a lot more opportunities. And, maybe it saves your neck someday if needed.
Exactly.
Thank you. So I come to the last question, and I want, this is for everyone. So the question is the following. So now we have many people online who are part of this session, and they are really very hardworking, and they do their best. Some of them might be feeling stuck, some of them might be confused, some of them are looking forward to. If there's one thing that people want to take out of this session, what would that be today? If the team wants to, if people want to take a point back home, a thought back home after this one, what would that be? Let's start with you, Harini.
I would actually like to reiterate the same thing. Like, staying curious and keep showing up at communities and investing in relationship, just like how Ramani just said, right? It makes a lot of meaningful progress in your it could be for anything, not just your career, but for different other things. Invest in your relationship, and don't hesitate asking questions and asking for help whenever you need. This is what I would say that everybody has to take back. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness, but it comes from a place of strength. So this is something that has to be kept in your heart all the time to move ahead in your career or in your life. So that's what I would say.
Thank you, Harini. Thank you. Ramya, if I may ask you.
So the key thing that I would say is kind of stitching up what everyone else said is, first thing, like how Harini said, right? You start small. So for example, taking networking, you start small. It's never going to be easy. Me moving to a different continent, for me to networking, I'm starting from scratch here. I'm just checking on who are the communities that are there in the place that I stay. Just send them a message telling that, I want to volunteer. This is my background. I have built communities back home. I want to volunteer. Start small, right? And just like how Laksha said, no one is going to come and fight your battle. First, you get up, you start, right? I have to start the initiative to build the relationship, just like how Ramani said, right? So if I start sending small mails, out of the 5 mails I send for networking, I get response for one, at least one, right? That's how I start building my relationship. So I give my 100% over there. As part of building that relationship, community, and volunteering, I'm going to grow myself. I'm going to learn what are the latest things that's happening in the tech space, right? How I can upskill myself. Okay, this is the latest thing. How can I upskill myself? How can I collaborate? How can I brainstorm with people? And through this journey, I'm going to build wonderful connections and wonderful relationship who might become my 1 a.m. call, right? Just like how Ramani said. So it's all about this. But the one thing that I want to tell you, it's never going to be easy. Okay. It was a wonderful journey for me back in India. I'm going to start from scratch here in Australia. It's never easy at all. So it's okay. Don't feel disheartened if you don't get a response. Keep on trying, right? I think that's what I would like to summarize, Padmini.
Thanks, Ramya. That was wonderful. Lakshya?
Yeah, just three things that, from whatever I spoke. Build visibility over time, and only that can give you the opportunities. Progress is always better than perfection. And in most talks, I say this, last but not the least, your network is your net worth. So invest wisely in them.
Oh, thank you. I think those great 3 points. I love that. Ramni, over to you.
No, I think they've covered everything. All I will say is don't define your success very narrowly as just promotions or the latest product you built, right? A lot of the success can be, I mean, if you wake up and you're happy to go to work, if you wake up and you're happy with what you're doing, that is success to me, right? So don't chase after the title. Don't chase after those things should come naturally. And if it doesn't, some people, even if you're the best in what you do, you don't get it. It's okay. Nobody cares, right? What matters is people around you like you, people around you recognize you, people around you are willing to help you. Be a good person, right? Be a person that people look up to, want to emulate, right? I think that is way more important than uh, titles and things like that, because there is a tsunami coming, right? That's the point I was trying to end with. This AI tsunami is coming, whether we like it or not. It is going to affect jobs, right? So now more than ever, we need a support structure. We need people to help each other out beyond technology, beyond the day job. You need people, shoulders to cry on. You need to be a shoulder for somebody else to come and cry on. It's okay. I think there is nobody else to help. This is it. I mean, so I think it's more important than ever to be part of something where there is people who will help you and you will help others. And please don't think again. This is the point I keep saying about transactional. Community is not about what the community will do for you. It's also about what you're you willing to do for others, right? 9 out of 10 times that may all be it. There may be nothing back in return, right? The return may be only joy, seeing others succeed. That's okay. There's nothing wrong in being happy for others succeeding, right? So I would leave you with, I think, that sense of belonging. I think we have all been through it, so it's very hard for us to not understand how others are not doing it right. I think you have to experience it to realize what does it mean to belong, right? And that cuts across companies, cuts across jobs. So that's what I want to leave everybody with.
Thank you, Ramni. So I think, to sum up all the lessons that we have learned, show up, be part of the community, be willing to put in first and keep trying, and don't look for perfection, and be ready to ask for help. Don't be transactional, and invest in relationships more so now, because we have a disruptor already in place. So I hope the participants have taken these points, and hope it will be helpful for someone who is listening to this. Thank you all for your time and uh, energy to spend here and inspiring all of us. Thanks once again.
Thank you, Padmini ma'am. And thank you to all our panelists for sharing your experiences and insights. We've heard stories about the mentors, communities, and opportunities that help shape careers. Now let's learn more about the community that brings those elements together. Please welcome back the founder of Career Guild, Shwetha Lakshman Rao, for Career Guild, where access becomes opportunity. Over to you, Shwetha, ma'am.
Thank you, Sukrit. So, we had a great session today. We had lots of inputs and insights from people who have walked the paths, who have actually seen how the career looks like. Different kind of people, different kind of stories, and different kind of paths they walked. Right. So, with reiterating that, with the 20 years of experience that I have been gone through, and the kind of people I met, the kind of learnings I had, this is what something I have built. So CareerGuild.live is already live. So quickly walking you through the call for action so that how you people can be part of this. As you people are able to see the screen, the first thing is join community. So through this, you can be a learner, you can be a contributor, or you can be the both. So as you pass on to the next section of this, it gives you the option of what exactly you want to be. Then the next action item is you heard throughout the entire session, right? How important is it to be visible? How important is it to understand what you need to grow further, right? So, this is a special session that we have designed, and this will be starting sometime next month. So, the call for action is if you've had resonated the stories, the kind of learnings from this session, you can fill in your info over here so that we will reach out to you for the very first session that we'll be starting, which is Visible by Design. Coming back, you people may still feel that I am not confident to go and talk to people. I'm still having lots of questions. I don't know where to ask. Who would be answering me? All these kind of things, right? So this is something we are designing, Global Voices, which is the combination of podcasts and Emma sessions. You can be in any geography, attending from any part of the world, right? We hear you. So this is what we have built, where you can ask questions about the career. You can also share your city, country, and time zone, which will help us to schedule some of the sessions in your time zone because we respect each one's time. We value the kind of inputs, we value the kind of phases that you're going through, and we want to genuinely help you. So you can share all these information. So that is the next call for action for Ask Me Anything session. Ramani mentioned about AI, right? There is a huge disruption that is coming. But along with that, there is the human advantage. So we are designing the next session around this, and we are still trying to do some more part around it where we would like to hear from you people. What exactly are your problems? How do you want to navigate through this? So you can express the interest through this form so that we will be coming with this particular session by next quarter. There are a couple of other things that are lined up because as I've been designing a lots of initiative, not just for people to grow in their career, but we also understand the silent voice. People who have got like they had to step back because they were caregivers. They had other priorities on the personal front. It could be their own health, right? So now they want to come back. So we want to help them genuinely. So that is the Return Ready program, which is work in progress under the mentorship marketplace. So these are the things that we have designed for you, and you have the call for actions. The first call for action is joining the community. The next one is, if you are wanting to see how you can grow, join the Visible by Design session. You can ask the questions through Ask Me Anything for and the AI and Human Advantage. So this brings to the overall coverage of what Career Guild is all about. Now, it's the time for wrap up. So, before we leave, I would like to share this thought. Career Guild did not start as a business plan. It started with a pattern I kept seeing. Talented people doing great work, still not finding the right kind of opportunities. Not because they lacked capability, not because they didn't have ambition, but because they didn't always have the access to the right people in the right rooms, and the right conversations and the right opportunities didn't come through them. I have been fortunate throughout my career. There were people who advocated for me when I was not in the room, people who challenged me to think bigger, people who opened doors, made introductions, and believed in me, my potential, and helped me to see myself. Not everyone has this kind of support system. Career Guild exists to help change that particular gap. Today is day one, and already more than 1,500 professionals have chosen to be part of the Career Guild journey. You may be wondering, oh, this is day one, and Shwetha is giving 1,500, a big number. Over the years, I have been creating WhatsApp group, a structure where people can join, get referrals, help someone by referring them, someone who can help other in learning something. So that is the kind of structure I had built over years, and officially they are now part of the Career Guild. So we have more than 1,500 professionals in these WhatsApp groups. So when you join the community, you will start joining to these groups based on where you are, right? So to everyone who joined us today, thank you. Whether you're a student, early career professional, a leader, a mentor, a sponsor, or just trying to figure out what's next. Thanks to our panelists, Harini, Ramya, Lakshya, and our moderator, Padmini. Special thanks to Ramni for always believing in me. He is the 1 a.m. person for me. Any day, anytime, I can just call him. Now, because he has bigger and better responsibilities to handle, and I see sometimes he will have to be, even while having a drink, he should be texting and trying to resolve the issue. So I would just drop a note and he is still there for me. So thanks to Ramani. Thanks to Shruti Basu for sharing the story, and who is building something on the emotional part as well. Every career has people behind the path: mentors, sponsors, peers, community. People who create opportunities for others. That is what Career Guild is all about. Talent is everywhere, access is not. Together, we help to close that gap. Special thanks to Sukrit, who is an enthusiast student with strong interest in emerging technologies and community building. And today, he was our MC. Thank you all for being part of day one.